Sup peeps, me again. I am doing things in a wee bit of a different way today. Normally I run through all my orders in the morning, get up, pick the orders, have a chat about them, pack them up and off they go. But I'm having to go earlier to get the post away within the day. I also need to do something with the lighting in here because I look like I'm half a skull. Don't know if that's any better or not, but I can see my own face, so that's something at least. That's what happens when the sun comes out. Sunshine! Yeah, so I'm just, whenever a few orders come through, I'm just going to jump on, run through them, get them packed up and into the post bag, ready to go out on the next available one. And it means that if I get a lot of orders in, which is always the hope, that it's not a mad rush in the morning trying to get everything done. I might have a couple of overnight orders to talk about in the morning, and I can just get them finished up, bundled up and ready to go out with the rest of the post. I have resisted using the Royal Mail Collect facility because it was a wee bit random when they were arriving around here, but I spoke to a couple of the guys up at the office and I says no, it should be the same time every day. When it's been random in the past, I just happened to pick 3 weeks when people were on holidays, so it ended up being 9 o'clock one day, 11 o'clock the next, 1:30 in the afternoon the next day, which is a big chunk of day to have to sit listening for the door. Typically kind of within an hour and a half is when they should be here, so I'm quite happy to go with that. And obviously they've left me some big mail sacks, so I can just pop it all in, they can grab it and then they can scan it back in at the depot. It saves everyone a lot of time and trouble. So to make sure I can make the most of that, I need to have everything ready to go for like 9 o'clock in the morning, just to make sure. If a couple of orders come in between like 9 and 11, I can just go and stick them in the wee box easily enough. They will always fit unless it's some crazy order that comes in which case it'll be going as a big package and I'll need to drop it off anyway. Enough babbling. Ian, it's later in the day, I've just had a coffee, everything goes a bit woo. Right, what have we got going out? We have so far today about 70 quid's worth of orders, actually nearly 80 pounds worth, and the first twos is Jaws and the Island by Mr. Peter Benchley. Jaws is a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, read it. It's obviously the book of the film. No, the film's the film of the book. You know what I mean. The book came first, not by much, but the book came first, and it's got a whole lot more going on in it than the film. Much more of a soap opera, to be honest. So if you like that kind of thing, it's in there. I'd say, I don't want to throw any spoilers, but everybody knows Jaws. If you don't, there's something wrong. But there's a few characters that are quite different in the book. Chief Brody, his wife is not the same person she is in the film. In the book, she's like from one of the highfalutin island families, and that builds a lot more resentment because he's not. The wee Richard Dreyfuss character, can't remember his name. It's not going to tell me in the back, is it? It's not going to tell me the back of that, but the Richard Dreyfuss character, he's very, very different in the book as well, and there's an awful lot more around him as a character, and you'll probably really enjoy his arc. Yeah, so if you see Jaws, if you haven't read it, pick it up and read it, man. It's brilliant. It's so good that I actually hand-bound myself a copy of it a good few years ago when I used to do bookbinding. I'm a qualified bookbinder. Did 2 years at college. Anyway, Jaws and the Island by Peter Benchley. They're going out $13.99 for the two of those. Really good condition, vintagey paperbacks. In fact, that one's really, really, really good condition. I'm sure I had more than one copy of that, and I've probably picked up the wrong one to put out in this bundle here. But it's done. It's a cracker. Off they will go. Next, we've got a pre-made bundle, Richard Castle. So much like the Argyle books that I've been talking about, the Argyle book, look at the film of the book. Richard Castle, a 3-book bundle. So apparently, I only stumbled across this as I was going through it. Richard Castle is not the name of the author. Richard Castle is the name of the character who's in the book, and the book's about him writing about the character in the book. That make any sense? So I think Nathan Fillion is the TV series person who is Castle. So it sounds slightly convoluted, but very popular apparently. I found a wee bundle of them, so I stuck 3 of them together, $9.99, and they will scoot off. If I remember rightly, it was a load of hardcovers. They're all quite small, so it's a relatively light little bundle. And I believe the real author may or may not be Tom Straw. Who knows? Anyway, that's going out. Let's say $9.99 for the 3 of them, all on there together. Some. Then I wasn't going to be talking about these, to be honest. To be frank, in my opinion, the way I see it is all these other things that I and people say. I had a big bundle of these went out today as well, and I was just going to dinghy them and just talk about the books, but as I've had another huge stack, I thought let's just mention them again. DVDs. So I've got a couple of different listings for DVDs, a few different listings, like classic movies, which is where most of these have come from. Pride and Prejudice, Matilda, the most classic of them all, The A-Team, things like Working Girl, you know. Films that people grew up with tend to do quite well. Also musicals, horrors, Disney, that's the other kind of 3 main categories. But yeah, films that people grew up with. Titanic, and it's kind of obvious when you start looking at them. Forrest Gump. Face Off. Cajun Travolta, that was brilliant when it came out. Yeah, so these type of films seem to do quite well. I've just got a big variation list and people can go in and choose their own. It's like buy 5, get 5 free, and they're a couple of quid each. So really, you get 10 DVDs for a tenner plus postage on top of it. In this case, they've bought 14 in one go, so £26.49 for 14 DVDs. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to be under 2 kilos, so it'll go as a small parcel, so only, you know, kind of about £3.50ish to get that posted. That's including all my packaging. So that leaves me £23, 23 quid after paying the postage on them. Went promoted listings, let's assume a third of the total is going to go to eBay, so they're going to take about 8 quid, maybe £8-9, so I'm getting left with maybe 12 quid. But I buy these for 10 pence each, so this lot cost me £1.40 to make 12 quid. Do the arithmetic. It's worth selling them. So I haven't sold any for a wee while. I've got hundreds to add to these listings and I've just not been getting round to it. It's pure idleness. I really do need to update them. I do remember last summer there was a really good run on these, so you know, people are maybe heading off on holiday, you know, getting ready to go on holiday. They've got the transportable DVD players rather than kids on laptops or whatever it might be. I don't know the reason, but DVDs did well over the summer and it seems to be heading that way again. And look for these kind of titles, you know, not necessarily, I mean, I quite enjoyed that film. A long time ago I watched it. I think I saw it at the cinema. Haven't watched it since. But you know, that type of films that people will have grown up with and have a bit of rewatch value. You know, Matilda, still sealed. What do we say? Pride and Prejudice, Triple the X, Conan, Knight's Tale, Eragon, Steel Magnolias, The Green Mile, Red, Face Off, Forrest Gump, Titanic, as I said. So you can see the type of films they are. They're not like super rare DVDs or anything. They're stuff that if you go into the charity shops, you will pick them up all day, every single day, and they do seem to go quite well. So yeah, that's my advice. If you want something that's cheap and easy to store, and DVDs are so light, you can just pile them up, you know, hundreds on top of each other, fill a wall with DVDs. You'll be amazed at how many you can fit into a relatively small space. And if you make an attempt to keep them alphabetical or by genre or something, then you can pick and pack them pretty easily as well. So that's a really good sale. Delighted with that. Yeah, what more can I say on that one? What else did we have? I've got 2 little book bundles going out alongside that. Both the Katies. We've got the Katies going out. Yay, the Katies. First one is Katie Flynn. 5 Katie Flynns, $12.99. So, you know, typical, usual price for that. And the second one is Kate E, as in Kate Ellis. So it's still a Kate E, but not said quite the same way. Kate Ellis, 5 Kate Ellis books. And again, just double check, but I'm going to assume they were indeed $12.99. Yeah, $12.99 for 5 paperbacks, which is kind of the norm. So yeah, good on the Kate E's. Fantastic bundle of DVDs going out. A nice wee couple of Peter Benchley, some proper vintage scary thriller horrors, and a wee Richard Castle book. That's all we've got so far. I'll no doubt be back later on to share some more. It's the morning. It's been like hours and hours and hours for me, but you know, seconds for you. I only got 2 more orders that came in yesterday evening and over the morning, so a wee bit disappointing from orders point of view, but it means I don't have to spend too long talking about it. The first one was a study book, Advanced Higher Physics, CFE Bright Red Study Guide. So this is obviously just paid second class postage, etc. But I think I'll just send this out first class and get it to them fast. I know my own son is doing his physics exam today, but it's not higher, it's a couple of levels below that, so I'm assuming this is further into the schedule, but still we'll get it out to them as fast as we can to make sure that they can use the best of the studying. So £6.49 for that one. And then a single DVD, Cecilia Bartoli, Viva Vivaldi, live from the Theatre des Champs-Élysées, Paris. Yeah, classical music on a DVD, £7.65. So you know, another couple of wee sales to get packed up and go in the post bag. But that's all it is really for the last day. So another, you know, pretty average day. I'm now, last month wasn't great. This month started well, you know, ahead of the curve. I'm now behind last month in overall sales and net sales, which is really, it's disappointing. Let's say it's just disappointing. At this point last month, I began to have a bit of a surge, and I had quite a few days in a row with, you know, really good sales up at the £200, well over the £200 in some days, and that hasn't materialised so far this month. There's an extra day in March over there was in April, so it should have started a day early if it was going to match out. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. But yeah, it's feeling like it's going to be a disappointing end to the month, which is a shame because it did start really, really strong, and then it's just slowed down, crashed, picked back up a wee bit, and just stayed at a fairly slow rate. So yeah, disappointing, but it is what it is. One other wee topic I just wanted to talk about, because it's been really bugging me the last couple of days. Returns, right? We get returns. I do not have an issue with returns. Somebody gets something and it's not what they were expecting, or they don't want it. Yeah, send it back. It's going to happen. You know, if you've sold something for £6 and it's cost you, you know, more than half of that just to ship it, and then somebody wants to return it, then you just got to write that off and take it as a loss, because it's just not worth having it shipped back. And then you've got a book that you can sell for £2 that's cost you like a fiver. What's the point? There's just 0 point in it. But the returns that annoy me, and this has happened a few times over the last year, I mean, really only a few times, not like, oh, this is happening every day, but it's enough to begin to bug me and wonder if there's something broken in the system that's causing it to happen. So most recent return was a set of the George R.R. Martin Game of Thrones books, so a 7-book set. I've sold this 2 or 3 times. This one, a return got opened, so I went in. The tracking says, I was talking about it the other day, the tracking says it's been delivered. It hasn't been delivered back to me, but I spoke to the postie and he reckons it's sitting at the depot, so I'll pick it up on Saturday morning and that's all fine. I was a wee bit concerned about refunding it before I'd had my eyes on it, in case somebody's like bought a set, taken the nice set and sent me back some crappy, broken, tattered set. So I was a wee bit worried about doing that, but then I went in and checked. I went in to check the tracking to see if I could work out where it was coming back to me, and I'd accidentally tricked on the tracking, clicked on the tracking for it being sent, which showed it was never delivered. and it was one of these delivered to Argos type box things, and then if it's not collected, it gets returned. So that's what this order was, and this is not the first time it's happened, sending to those boxes, those spaces. It goes out, the customer, I don't know, are they not getting notifications? I don't know what's going on, but it sits there for a period of time and then it gets shipped back to me. So in this case, that's me about £7-8 out of pocket for sending that set out. Thankfully, it's returned for free because it's just not been collected. But why are people not picking these up? Is there something wrong in the system? Am I not doing something right? I don't know what it is that's costing me money. £8, I mean, it's certainly not end of the world money by any stretch, but it's really frustrating. I mean, these 2 orders that I'm sticking out here, I'd need to sell them 3-4 times over to make that £8 back, and that's the truth of that. So it's like, well, the next bit of work I'm doing it for free. I'm listing these 5-6 books for free because I need to get that set back. Even when it comes back, sell it again for the same price, which I imagine I'll do quite easily because it's been a popular seller. But it's now going to have cost me like £12, £13 to have purchased that set because of that additional postage. And if I'm only selling it for 28, and eBay are taking a third of that, and you know, another £7 or £8 going in postage, I'm going to make, you know, like a couple of quid if I'm lucky off of selling that entire big £30 set twice. And that's the annoying bit, is knowing you're going to have to do more work to get nothing back just to try and break even. So does anyone else have this problem with the whole sending it, and it always seems to be the Argos ones, so you know, have it delivered to your whatever box at Argos where you can pick it up, and it feels like more often than not that just doesn't work. And I remember packing this one up and thinking, oh God, it's an Argos one, this one's just going to come back to me. I thought, no, you're being stupid, Ian, you've had that experience a couple of times, so therefore you're making it worse than it is. But no, right enough, back it comes. So if anybody has had this issue with the Argos stuff, please let me know so I can try and work out what is going wrong, because I don't want to keep throwing money away on postage when it's just going to come back. Like I say, it's not a huge amount of money, but you know, over a period of time this could add up. And since the start of the year, you know, a few months ago, we're about a third of the way through the year, that's maybe £20-30 in postage I've spent, where it's just come straight back to me, and that's annoying. Not that includes where people haven't picked up in the Royal Mail office, etc. So if anyone's experienced that, let me know. And when people just do not collect their parcel and don't do, you know, the whole postage thing, when somebody chooses to do it that way, when they choose a service to have it sent by, I'm taking they're entering a contract that I'll do my part to get it shipped out, and then they need to do their part to receive it. So either, you know, be available to get it when it arrives, you know, nominate your safe place, whatever it might be. If it's getting delivered to a depot or one of these boxes, you know, you're going to go and collect it. Otherwise they're not holding up their end of the bargain. So should we be able to say, well look, I did everything I could, I shipped this out, you simply did not collect it, so I'm knocking the price of postage off of your refund. Now that's whether you send it with a free post or a charged post, and I used to always charge postage because it gave me that wee sense that if somebody messes me about on their end and it's their fault, then I can always propose putting that in as a deduction and say, well, it cost me £4 to ship it, I'm not refunding your shipping, so that's on you. But in this case it was £28, free post. They just didn't pick it up at their end, so I'm out of pocket. They don't have their books, obviously. They've wasted their time, and they've had to wait however long it is since they first paid for it for all of this to happen so that they're able to get their refund. But yeah, what do you think? Should we be able to deduct that if people don't fulfil their end, or am I just, you know, spitting gripes out of there as to whatever it is? But enough, no more. That's it. It's been niggling at me, and when you've only got, like, you know, yesterday £100 worth of sales going into the eBay pile as it tops up, having to pay 28 quid of that back out was a smart, you know, a third of your day's money, almost, so it's a quarter of the day's money coming in that you're going to have to just pay out because somebody out there is incompetent. And I don't necessarily mean the buyer. It could be that they were just didn't bother going to get it, didn't understand what they'd done when they set it up. It seems unlikely, but it could be something wrong with the whole system, and you know, would it not fit in the box? What? I don't. Anywho, that's enough for now. Might be another couple of sales coming in before I get round to snipping and cutting this one. I say that, I don't edit, I just upload. So I shall maybe see you later.